How many people have you slept with?
I don't know. I have to check my list.
Fucking hell, you got a list?
Who doesn't?
Who does that? Alright.
I think it's like 22 or something.
Alright. Oh shit! Oh shit! Show the camera, show the camera.
I know what you want me, baby. I think I want you. Oh, hell no, man. What the?
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Dating, well, just dating apparently, marriage, all that good stuff. It's all about politics, how you think about the administration, and women have gone off the rails when it goes leaning to the left and progressive and all the things. But then surprisingly, when they want to date a guy, they want someone with old-time conservative values. And I've talked about this before, but the split is becoming so far apart that now, just depending on how you vote, women are going to be like, no, I think you're all the things. So we're going to jump into that, and I got a couple articles and some videos to read. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit longer form video, but I'm going to do the thumbnail content first. So the first thing we'll talk about is what's on the thumbnail. And then if you want to tap out, well, you've got my video for the day. But if you're at the gym or you're on a drive or you're doing something where you don't want to fiddle with your phone constantly, I'll continue on with other stories in the day. And that way you can get extra content and enjoy it. And so I'm going to try this for a few videos and see what you guys think and see if you like it. And then if you don't want the extra content and you want short form stuff, you can just tap out. But if you like the longer form, you can keep going. So first, we're going to start right here from the Daily Mail. Now, this is a couple of months old. This came out in September, and I didn't really address it because I don't really talk much about politics on this channel. Now, over on betterbachelor.locals.com, I talk about it, and when I do my live streams, I talk about it and how it's affecting everybody. But I try to avoid it over here because not everybody's in America. A lot of people are in different countries. But I see the kind of same thing happening, whether it's Australia or Europe, anywhere in Europe. It's happening now in South America. I even think it's happening in the Philippines and other areas where you don't really even have kind of conservative versus progressive. You just kind of have normal people and then weirdos. And a lot of the weirdos now are overwhelmingly women, and we'll get into that in a minute. So I do want to touch on this because I think the dating trend is spreading throughout the United States. Definitely, you've got feminists alive and well in Europe and Western countries. They're certainly now popping up in the Philippines. I know some of you have left comments or sent me emails that are like, dude, it's getting bad here in the Philippines or Thailand. South America is getting really bad. And I think that coincides with a lot of the problems that we're having in the world. So from the Daily Mail, MAGA is the leading red flag for 18 to 34-year-old women, while men are turned off by women with political opinions and a new survey on dating trends. I think this is interesting because what men are saying is like, I don't want to get political. It doesn't run my life. It's important to me. I'm sure it's important to a lot of guys, but they don't let it determine the course of their life ahead of them, where women are. They're saying, nope, this is definitely important to me because of all the things. They say men are turned on by girls who drink cow's milk instead of non-dairy alternatives. Meanwhile, women said people who listen to Joe Rogan and believe there are only two genders, male and female, turn them off. Now, you could say, well, they're going to use their sexuality or their beauty or access to the bedroom to try to control men. And we know this is a thing going probably back to the time long before history was even recorded. But definitely even during, I think it was World War II, when the ladies would walk around and they would shame men that didn't sign up for war. So this is definitely something that's been around for a very long time. They say it's easy to win over most young women, just don't be a MAGA backer and see the Barbie movie. I guess they're saying, let me adjust my mic sensitivity because I have dogs' nails clicking in the background. There we go. Be quiet. So don't like Donald Trump, and I guess and make sure to go see the Barbie movie. A fascinating survey has revealed the most common turn-ons and turn-offs among 18 to 34-year-old men and women in the U.S. Change Research asked 1,033 Americans whether certain behaviors are a green, beige, or red flag. Here's how you know women got involved in this. Because men don't have green flags. Men don't have beige flags. They have red flags. That's a red flag to me. Warning sign, I'm going to back away. And women heard this and they go, well, there's green flags too. And don't forget, there's probably like beige flag. Like that's what happens when women get involved. They make everything more complex and ridiculous. So this has got to be written by a woman. Let me see. Martha Williams for Daily Mail. There you go. Of course a woman wrote it because she's talking about green and beige flags now. They say both men and women are on the same page on some qualities, such as the importance of having hobbies or being bothered enough to ask for details. Women don't have hobbies other than shopping and makeup. For 76% of women backing MAGA ideals, Make America Great Again, a moniker championed by President Trump was a turn-off. For men, 64%, the biggest turnoff was identifying as a communist. Now, so what's funny is when you talk to guys, the women are saying, oh, if you're like Donald Trump and you're into making America great again, you're problematic and here's all your issues. And guys are like, don't be a commie. That's pretty much it. And if you think about it, that's actually how a lot of young people and women are now openly identifying. A majority of men interviewed, 59%, also cited pro-Trump beliefs as a turnoff when looking for a partner. So now you've got 60% of guys also saying pro-Trump beliefs are a turnoff. Here's the thing. You know this was in a city. This was definitely in a city. So the 1,000 people that they polled were in a city. They say it was similarly left-wing story with the gender identity. 54% of women said people who believe there are only two, like men and women, and not all the other rainbows, also turn them off. A sizable minority of men, 34%, felt the same way. Again, which tells me that this was likely in a very liberal city. Also controversial among women was the Joe Rogan podcast, with 55% say they wouldn't be interested in a man who listens to the hugely popular show. Just over a third of men interviewed felt the same way, although Rogan's audience is primarily male. What this tells me is these are people that don't have independent thought. If someone comes to me and they say, I watch CNN like it, or MSNBC or NBC or what is it, Canadian Broadcast News, CBN, I think it is, which is kind of state-sponsored now at this point. If they come forward and they say, I listen to that like it's my religion, I'd say, okay, why? And we might have a little bit of debate on something. But that has a very definitive view on the world. If somebody comes forward and they say, I eat at the trough that is Fox News, I'd say, okay, that tells me a lot about you. But when people are coming forward and they said, oh, I listen to Jimmy Dore, or I listen to Russell Brand, or I listen to Joe Rogan, and people go, hoo, that's kind of problematic for me. You're talking about people that are about as middle of the road as you can be nowadays. And so really what they're saying is, oh, you're not part of the tribe. You're a free thinker. You're not on the reservation. Or in this case, you're not on the plantation, right? Oh, you're a free thinker. I find that problematic. And that really is what I think this is boiling down to. It's not so much left versus right. I mean, it is to some degree. I think it's more, do you think for yourself versus do you, quote unquote, trust what everybody is putting forward? And this is a very big deal, because I think people in our neck of the woods, you know, and when I say our neck of the woods, I mean like guys that listen to everything and maybe have differing opinions, and we talk about it and maybe we disagree, and maybe we I think most of those guys now are like, I don't like the left or the right. I don't like conservative, nor do I like progressive. I don't like the idea of I'm only a man if I go out and sleep with 50 or 100 women, and I'm very successful, and I can show wealth, and I can get all these beautiful women to be attracted to me and want to sleep with me. Or we should get married. Get married, have a big family. Like, there's a huge segment of men now that are like, neither one of those works for me. Like, you can't put me in a camp anymore. You can't pigeonhole me. And I think as this continues on, I think that camp in and of itself, the camp of, I don't belong to anybody, I don't think like anybody else, you can't convince me your way is the right way, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. I think that's going to be the largest population of men right now. And as the, say, one side or the other, whether the left goes crazy or the right goes crazy, I think these guys are going to say, yeah, I'm not on either crazy side. I'm just going to stand here in the middle, and I'm going to do what works best for me. And I think more people are becoming like this. I think that's what this is really about, is that it's more or less, are you a free thinker, or do you suckle at the teat of government and news media and what they tell you? And that includes, when I say that includes places like, Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and very conservative views, or I don't know, left-wing pundits. I think there's a huge segment of guys that are not falling in line with either. They say overall there were stark differences in how men and women view stances on astrology. That's how you know this was written by a woman. Guys don't think anything about astrology. It's BS and it's stupid. Bravo Lima Mike, BLM, and owning a long-range hole puncher as attractive qualities. They did not pick the finest representatives for Trump here. One's okay. She looks like she's special needs, though. And I'll tell you what's funny is when I went to go make this thumbnail here, I did a search for cute pink hair or sexy pink hair, something like that, and I found an image that worked for me. And if you try that with green hair or blue hair or purple hair or rainbow hair, there's very few actually attractive women with the crazy hair colors. You'll find a bunch of them that aren't, or a few photos that are shared lots and lots of times because the woman actually is decent looking, kind of like this one is. But if you do a search for like sexy red hair, sexy blonde, sexy brunette, boy, the women are a whole lot better looking. Let me just put that out there. So it does tell you something on the views of the world. And I think women like this, maybe women that are a little bit more conservative or women that are a little bit more family oriented, I think these are women that have had attention from men. I think now it doesn't mean that they're not necessarily going to leave a guy and take half of his income. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they've had attention from men. Their lives have probably been relatively easy. They have guys take them out on dates and treat them well and find them attractive and probably want to wife them up and have babies with them. And the other ones that are the weirdos with the purple hair that are, overweight, have 17 piercings in their eyebrows, they're probably not getting the same treatment and thus are much more bitter and angry at everything. And that's probably what leads them to the left. Just guessing. They say a red flags in the partner, and this is from men and women. They identify as basically a Trump Republican. 76% women, 59% men. But then when you poll the country, and if you look at most recent polls of like how Trump's doing in the polls, he's coming in at 52, 53%. So that's why I think this is oversampled. They have no hobbies. Well, that's, again, they say all lives matter. That's problematic for most women, that there are only men and women and not all the other rainbows. That's very problematic for women. They're so unbothered, they never ask for the details. I don't know what that means. They identify as a communist. Only 55%, or roughly half of women, are like, yeah, that's problematic for me. That in a sane society, I think more people would be like, yeah, that's kind of bad. Listen to Joe Rogan. Identify as conservative. 54% say that bothers them. Refuse to see the Barbie movie. 53% of women and 31% of men say that's problematic. The fact that people have opinions on this, let's just be real about this. If somebody has a problem, let me put this on a dark page so it doesn't blast your eyeballs out. If somebody says, I don't want to date somebody or find it problematic to date somebody that didn't go see the Barbie movie, is that really where we are? Are we so shallow and so vapid and so ridiculous when it comes to dating and politics and all that stuff that that's where we are? The answer to that is yes. And that's why I think a lot of the breakdown, and I have a chart to show how women and men have separated over the years when it comes to political breakdown, that's why we're in such a hot mess. Interestingly, though, women that are chasing the tall, successful, good-looking, masculine, athletic guys, the vast majority of those guys probably lean conservative, probably, or a little bit more so. Why? Because if you're successful, you don't want all your taxes going to all the things. You probably hit the gym, believe in eating and working out, which according to some some studies now, people are saying that if you work out at the gym, you're probably a conservative. Interestingly, only 27% owning a long-range hole puncher. They watch reality dating shows. Men find that kind of problematic. They talk about politics frequently, but that's not much. About 80% of both say, well, that's not, like 20% say it's problematic. So 80% are willing to talk about politics and openly. Are into astrology. 41% of men are like, no. Only 20% of women. Identify as liberal. 19% of women say that's bad. 33% of men say it's bad. And everything kind of goes down from there. And I kind of read this, so I don't need to go through all the particulars. But most men are just saying, look, we're not agreeing on this stuff. Both men and women say that reading is a turn on, except most people can't read anymore and don't read. They also agree the best researching for the best deals and rates before buying something. Okay, being frugal, not being stupid and throwing your money away. The funny one I find is women who prefer cow's milk over non-dairy. But, you know, it's healthier. Me personally, I think it's healthier to drink natural cow milk instead of oat milk or almond milk. I mean, have you ever tried to milk an almond? Very slippery. They fly right out of the fingers. And this is from 2023. They don't have the 223 on here because I think this was halfway through of 2022. But it says this is Gallup Poll's social series, Religion and Battery. Religion Battery, I guess. 1998 to 2023. And what do you notice with the blue line? Guys started here. This is 25 to 30. So this is like 27, 28% of men are becoming more liberal. And over time, you see the trend is basically flat. It adjusts by, you know, between 24 and 26 or 27 for the last, since 1998. So you're almost looking at, what, 25 years? It hasn't really changed much. But then when you look at women, when did it start to change? Right around 2013, 2014. And then it went up and up and up and up and up and up. And just recently, it's starting to curtail a bit. We're almost 45%. So women went from, you know, around 29, as low as 28, all the way up to 45% now are becoming more liberal. And when part of this, I think, is more women are going to college, more women are getting kind of told what to think in college, and they get into this emotional, you know, firestorm of how to think and how to feel. And I think guys are just more stoic because men are still going to college. Men are just not drinking the Kool-Aid that is given to them in college. But that doesn't have to do with dating. Excuse me, it only has to do with dating in long term. It doesn't have to do with sleeping around. Because who cares? You know, a guy that wants to sleep with a girl, if she happens to, even if she has pink hair and she's all into all the things, if she's cute and she's like, yeah, I put out, guy's going to be like, yeah, I don't care. Great, let's do it. And then when she says, okay, but I also want a relationship, and the guy's like, nah, I'm good. This is probably part of it because he got what he wanted out of her, which is the easy access to the having the fun and all the things. And then when it gets right down to, like turning it into a relationship, he's like, no, you're a crazy pink-haired feminist. Same thing, and this is a little bit older story. It's only 6 months old, though. Liberal TikToker goes viral after complaining that the only masculine and chivalrous men she can find are conservative. Why? Because conservative men keep the same values. Conservative men say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be masculine. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be stoic. I'm going to be courteous and kind. I'm going to stand up for what I believe. And I've been told by my parents and my family to treat women well and to open the door for them and to pay for dates and to be a traditional man. And the liberal ladies, they want to do all the things, but they don't want to be liberal, but they don't want to be conservative, but they still want the guy to be the same way. They say posted this past week. The clip comes from TikTok user, Los Angeles-based Singleton. I'm just gonna play the video. I think they've got it here. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the video, and you can hear it from her own words.
Do you want to know one of the saddest realizations I recently had? was that as a liberal woman, it is really hard to find a man who is willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship.
Now, I did a video on this on the time, but I want to touch back on this because there's articles and there was a Reddit thread that actually got locked down because that's how Reddit is. The minute something happens that goes viral and the moderators don't agree with, where women are saying, like, I find like these tall, masculine, very conservative men, like I hate them when it comes to their politics and the way they think, but they're so sexy and I just want to be with them and I want them to do very aggressive, bad things to me because I can't help, because that's lizard brain stuff.
In today's day and age, who is not a conservative? A man who wants to pay on the first date, who wants to open your door, who has that want and desire to take care of you and to provide, who is not a conservative. And obviously, as a liberal woman, I do want to be respected for my independence. And I do want to have my own autonomy in the relationship and not be confined or conform to the traditional female homemaker, childbearing role. And most of the men that I've dated who do have that more natural provider masculinity about them are normally conservative. So I don't really know what to do because I don't want to compromise my morals and values.
I'm going to pause on that for a sec. I don't want to compromise my morals and values. What are your morals? Baby deletion up until day of birth? Sleeping around? Having multiple boyfriends at the same time? Going to college and being a boss bee? Those aren't conservative values. But she likes the conservative values in men. She just doesn't like that they're conservative because she's been told that that's awful and because once again, once they're told this is the way men are, that they're toxic and they're bad and they shouldn't do all these things, she hears that and she believes that and she becomes a feminist. And then when she sees it in practice of a guy paying the bills and protecting his woman and taking care of you, she says, I really like that. The two don't link up. And that's the problem that women are having right now is, and same thing goes for our economy and paying for the government, paying for all the things and then taxing the living hell out of you, is women say, well, I want to give away all the things. Okay, give us 70% of your taxes. And women say, well, I want to keep my money. You can't have both. And it's the same with women. I want a man that will be protective of me and value me, but also I want to sleep around with everybody. Okay, well, men do not find women that sleep around with everybody and want to do all the things and have the body counts and the history. Men don't value that because there's no value there. You give yourself away too freely. Women can never make the two marry. And so ultimately women say, well, I don't want to date guys like that. I'm attracted to them. I want to be with them. I want to be treated that way, but I don't want to act right and correct and be what they want. And then all the social stigmas and all the things that they've been told in school and on social media, they lap that up like a dog and lapping up milk or water in the desert. They say, oh, well, I definitely agree with that, until it comes down to what they really want, and then the two don't link up. That's why men that go along with the feminism and all the things from the left, that's why those men say, I'll split everything with you, then you can be the earner and I'll stay home and watch the kids, and you can lead. And women say, I don't want that. But you do. Well, yes, I do, but I don't. Cognitive dissonance, and it never works for them.
It's just to find a man, but am I asking to have my cake and eat it too?
Yep. Yep, of course she's asking for her cake and eating it too. And I won't go down through the rest of it because you kind of get the idea. Down here, someone says, after in the comments below the video, people in the comments are being obtuse. It ain't hard for a man to respect women and their independence while still being a gentleman. Yeah, it is. You can't be independent. You can't be Miss Independent and misdo your thing and misdo whatever you want and all the things and then turn around and tell men, value me. Because guys are like, no, there's no value in that. Conservative men especially. And this is from Melanie Notkin from the New York Post. Why progressive women want to date men who act like conservatives. Progressive women want progressive men that act conservative. Do you see how the craziness happens. Do you see how none of this makes sense? I want a progressive man. I'm a progressive woman. I want a progressive man. But I want him to be conservative in the areas that I want. Okay, well, you're not going to find that. I want a conservative man. Maybe another way you could phrase this is, I want a conservative man that will value me and treat me well and do all the conservative things for me, but I want him to agree with me politically and also the way I want to live my life. The two, like, you want a progressive guy that acts conservative. Well, if he's acting conservative, he's not progressive. One, conserve means to hold on to the past, to hold on to traditional values. To kind of keep things the way they were. Progressive means to moving forward, to progress, to move away from the past. What women are saying is, I want a guy that's looking towards the future and acting towards the future, but also looking towards the past and acting like the past. That makes zero sense. My friend, now this is written by a woman, I'm sure. Yes, Melanie Notkin. My friend Mark is 36. He's a catch by many New York City standards. He's good looking, highly educated, and a talented photographer. He's also progressive and participates in protests and gives to left-leaning causes. Okay, he's woke. He's left. And Mark is looking for love. He wants to get married and have kids. Okay, but getting married and having kids is now very conservative. You know, because the women don't want that. In a liberal city like New York, swimming with single women wishing they weren't, one could assume Mark wouldn't have a problem finding a mate. And while he dates and recently had a couple of short-lived relationships, Mark remains single. He's trying to understand why. In other words, he's hooking up with women, but none of them want to be with him long-term. Because he's talking about getting married and having kids. And that would take them away from their careers. Because careers are all important to women now. He says, I'm really open-minded and cool about gender stuff on dates, but I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells. If I pay for dinner, it signals I don't value my date as an equal, so I'm super casual about it all. If she wants to pay or split whatever, that's fine with me. I told Mark that despite his best intentions, his egalitarian dating style could be the problem that's holding him back. While some women balk at any hint of traditional male gender behavior, more lament the loss of chivalry. I'm one of them. I find it attractive when a man makes plans for our first few dates and knowingly walks curbside when we're together. It signals he wants to protect me from passing traffic or errant puddle splashes. Okay, so she says, I find it attractive when a man plans our first few dates. But there's other women that say, why are you deciding where we go? Am I not smart enough? Am I not good enough? Why don't you care about what I want? I'm a boss girl. It's all about me. I'm the princess. I should choose. Or you chose a restaurant that's not high enough quality. You're only taking me to Outback or, I don't know, Chili's, and I wanted to go to this 5-star restaurant. See, there's the cognitive dissonance. They can't get everything to work out because, ironically enough, and I don't know if you know this or not, guys. I don't know if you know this or not. Women change their minds at the drop of a hat instantly for usually no reason. I know it's crazy. And you know this because 1 second a woman will say, oh, I had such a great day, and this went great, and that went great, and then she's quiet for 3 minutes, and you're like, what's the matter? You never do X, or it's always something. And someone explained it in one of the posts over on Locals. And by the way, if you're not over there, we have lots of discussions on things that, you know, people can write paragraphs and we have discussions and they can share links, and it's much more involved than it is here on YouTube, which is an awesome thing. So that's really where a lot of this conversation happens. But, and he said, you know, I've heard it. So he was repeating what has been explained to him. But I think it was very apropos. He said, you know, men's minds are like waffles. Each one has a compartment, a segment. Men's minds are like boxes, and each box has its thing. And I've heard this described multiple ways, but this was recently, and it reminded me about it. Men's like family in one box, dog, work, friends, and the boxes are connected by little strings. So, you know, the box of friends has a little bit to do with work, maybe a little bit to do with money or hobbies or whatever, but those strings are very small. Women's brains are like a pile of spaghetti noodles. They're just all jammed together and everything's touching and everything has to do with everything else. This is what's happening with these women. I am powerful and strong and I can do my own thing. Okay, then you pay for yourself. No, I want you to take care of me. Okay, I'll take care of you because obviously you want me to pay for things and you don't want to have to think about this stuff and you want it taken care of. No, I want to make my own decisions. Okay, so you make the decision. No, I want you to take the lead. You decide and plan the dates. Okay, I'll plan the date and you don't have any input. No, I want to have input. They can't do it. It's just back and forth and back. And men overwhelmingly today say, not worth it. Not worth the effort, not worth the stress. I'm out. Like, you're not enough fun. You're not good enough in the sack. You're not enough for me to drive myself crazy trying to put up with you. That's where the world had an advantage when men were in charge, because a man says X and women can say, I disagree and I don't like it. And then, okay, but we're doing it that way. The course is set. Women throwing switches and, well, let's go left, right, over. There's an old, as a matter of fact, there's an old clip. I'll see if I can find it about women drivers, and it was done in the 50s. It might be a Tex Avery cartoon. I'll see if I can find it and pop it in here. But it just shows you how women, it's been eternal that women can't make up their mind on things. And when it comes to dating, the same thing's happening. She said, when I was a kid, my mom told me to always walk curbside, but I assume my generation of women would think it's too old-fashioned. Mark told me. Now I'm really confused. The female desire to feel protected and looked after is built into our DNA, says evolutionary psychologist Jeffrey Miller. Right. I want to be protected. I want to be looked after. I want the man to do all the things. You know what's in a man's DNA? I don't want a mate or a woman that sleeps with everybody. The kid might not end up being mine. I don't want to put up all my resources for a kid or a woman that cheats on me, or a kid that may not be mine, or a woman that'll leave me in a heartbeat and take half my crap. That's kind of in male DNA. But they don't talk about that stuff. They say it's a mismatch between what progressive women say they want and what they actually respond to, Miller told me. Women's instinctive mate preferences have evolved for hundreds of thousands of years for guys who are competent, strong, good providers, good protectors, happy with a sexual division of labor, he added. Women want decisive men who are also compassionate and thoughtful. Well, that's not the progressive men. A 2018 study from Iowa State University backs this up, reporting that progressive women prefer men who demonstrate more traditional dating behaviors. I got news for you. Men, conservative men, want women that have conservative values. I mean, yes, progressive men will say, oh, we're going to have an open relationship and she can go have a boyfriend and sleep with him while I sit at home crying in my tea. And then I tell everybody I'm so happy for her and she has a great time. Do you really believe he thinks that? I mean, you look at Destiny. Was Destiny really happy with this girl going out and getting plowed by other dudes? Now he says, oh, well, I was getting some too. Okay, then you're not in a marriage. You're not really in a relationship. You're like in a situationship where you both sleep with other people. The only difference is he got married and is going to probably have a lot of his crap taken from him. Gwen Stefani, who cares? They go on to say, my friend Rock 44 exemplifies the same type of old school man. His girlfriend, 36, is a typical New York City progressive feminist, he said. Before me, she dated liberal arts and creatives. I work in corporate America and am much more conservative and methodical. I pay for stuff, open doors, and she likes that I walk on her right side because she has a mild case of scoliosis, he added. The couple's been together for 5 years. Now she's 36. What happens if she decides to tap out? She'll take half the crap. But you can see that their boyfriend, girlfriend, so maybe she can't take half his stuff if they do end up getting married, but they've been together for 5 years. He's 10 years older than her. He's traditional. He's conservative. And she's feminist. And you say, well, how do the two get along? It's easy. He's doing his thing. He's making the money. He's the one in charge. He's making the decisions. And then he sleeps with her, and she's hot and fun. That's why he's okay with it. Carrie, 45, is a fundraising executive who dated a man in 2018 with similar left-leaning values and beliefs. But before long, his egalitarian dating attitude and lack of initiative to plan dates led to a breakup. She said, at work, I'm the boss. I have to run the show, be the cheerleader, have tough conversations. I make big decisions all day long. At the end of the day, I want my guy to say, babe, I got this. But the problem is that when men do that, if the woman disagrees, it's, why are you controlling me? Why are you telling me what to do? Why are you doing these things? And it doesn't work out. Carrie's next boyfriend was a conservative who works in finance. You notice these conservative guys work in finance. It means money. It means the ka-ching, right? So, well, he's conservative, but he's also very successful, and he's good looking, and he takes care of everything. She says, without fail, he would pick up the place, set the time, and then ask if his plan worked for me. Felt great to know he was taking care of it all. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, the MAGA America, the Trump guys, the conservative guys. Oh, I hate them, but also I want the traditional value that comes along with it. So what happens to these guys that say, okay, I'm a feminist and I'm in on your deal, ladies, and we'll all get along, and I'm right up there. This is a guy that did this. I asked my Tinder date to split the bill with me on our first date, and she was furious with me. And so were thousands of others. Now, is it the conservative women that are upset with him? How dare you? Oh, I don't have my soundboard turned on. How dare you expect a woman? No, it's the liberal women are mad at him because he did what they asked and said we're both equals. A single man has ignited a fierce debate after insisting on splitting the bill with his Tinder date. The man from Miami, Florida, who goes by the username Who Cares, asked the woman out to dinner for a first date, but she wasn't pleased when he made her pay for half the meal. While secretly recording the encounter at the restaurant, that's creepy, guys, don't do that, unless you're protecting yourself from maybe a false, claim. The woman passive-aggressively threw down her credit card and asked, why are we splitting the bill? He replied, well, it's our first date, so I thought we should maybe go half. The awkward conversation was shared on TikTok and left thousands furious, with one of the many women arguing the man should have paid for the date since he was the one who asked the woman out in the first place. How beautiful this works out for women. Women say, I don't want to ask a man out. Men should ask women out. But if a woman does ask a man, she should pay for the date, or they should go half. Okay, when was the last time women started going out and asking men out? Not that often. Women drop a bunch of hints so the guy asks them out, so then the man will have to pay. And what happens if she drops a bunch of hints and the guy just blows it off and doesn't ask her out? Then she goes online and complains, why aren't men pursuing women anymore? Why aren't men asking women out anymore? Like, it's a lose-lose-lose no matter what you do as a guy. The video included footage captured later of the pair arguing bitterly in the car. I can't believe you made us split the bill, the woman said, to which the man replied, you ordered an appetizer that I didn't even touch. Why do you think that I should? So he buys a drink, she buys an appetizer and a couple of drinks. Should a guy pay for his $6 drink and her $25, $30 bill? Because there's a lot of foodie calls right now where women are going out on a date they don't really want to be out on. Then they ignore the dude and end up scarfing down $30 or $40 worth of food and drinks and then say, well, you pay for it. And they have no intention of going out again. Is it wrong for a guy to say, hey, we're going to pay for the first couple of dates to make sure that, we're on even par, and to make sure you're just not using me for food. And then if we get along, we'll keep doing this. There's no winning answer here. And when you start piling up all these issues and all the crap and putting it together, and there's so many men that are just saying, I don't need this drama. I just want to relax. I want an easy life. I don't need more drama added to it. I already work enough and have all the other crap. A woman could be heard unbuckling her seatbelt, getting out of the car, and saying bye in a sarcastic tone before slamming the door. The video has since been viewed a staggering 6.2 million times and ignited a heated feud in the comments. One person encouraged the man to be a gentleman and pay for the whole bill on future dates, and many agree. There is no future date. Trust me when I say that. That woman is never going to, and he's probably not going to ask her out again, which is probably why he asked her to split the bill. Someone else wrote, I'm with her. You ask for the date, you pay. Another said, only friends split the bill, not for those on a first date. A fourth added, first and last date, he should be embarrassed. Really? Maybe she should be embarrassed. Why would you assume that a man would pay? It's 2023. Women want equality. Women want to be equals. Okay, equals pay the bill equally. If my friend and I, Matt, if we go out for lunch or dinner or something, and he offers to pay, I'll say either, no, we'll split it. Or men often argue over who's going to pay because we like our friends. We want to take care of them. We want to say, hey, man, I appreciate you so much. I want to get you a meal. These men don't feel that same way about these women. It used to be a guy would say, I appreciate your company and the time and you looking beautiful and you being nice to me. I appreciate that so much. I want to buy you dinner. Makes me feel good. Just to thank you for being an awesome woman and spending time with me. That doesn't exist anymore. It still exists between men. And if a guy does that for his buddy will say, hey man, no problem. Let's go out and get a couple drinks or I'll get you next time. And that guy will because he appreciates his friend. What it really boils down to is women don't respect the men. And the men don't respect the women, therefore. That's about all I have on that one. But you get the idea. And where does it all end? Where does it all end? It all ends with this. This is a video of a guy that goes out and does street interviews. And I think they're pretty good interviews. Now, what's funny is if you look at these women, one is in a polka-dotted dress and the other's in a kind of a casual low top. I want you to hear what these women's expectations for in Miami. And here's when a woman, if you were to ask my mom or even somebody back in the 1980s or 1990s when I was in the dating market as a young guy, if you asked me or most women, what's high value in somebody that you're dating? Or if you asked a woman, what's a high value guy to you? Like what's a man that you would want to date and you would want to be serious with? These women would say, like, I want him to be smart and funny and treat me well and be nice to me and be respectful. And I'd want him, and if she was marriage-minded, she'd say, I want him to be able to take care of the family and have good values, maybe get along with his parents and his siblings, be nice. I'd see how he treats waiters and waitresses. Now you ask women, what's high value? And they're like $350,000 a year. That's all it boils down to. He's good looking, takes care of himself. Listen to this woman's response to his interview questions.
Why do you think you're single at 29?
I think I just have too high of standards. I just have a really hard time feeling someone that I really click with and that I want to spend time with.
What would you say makes your standards so high?
I don't like men who fuck around, and I like a high quality man. It's really hard to find high quality men these days.
Now I'm with her by saying I don't want a guy that screws around and cheats. Why is that the first thing she says? Why is that the first thing she says is I want a guy that's not going to F around and step out with other women? I'll tell you why. Because if you look at her and look at her outfit, she's probably not too bad looking. She's getting action from the bad boys. She's going home. She's hooking up with them. And then when she wants a relationship with them, they bounce. And that bothers her. So she wants the same guy that's good looking and charismatic and makes good money and he's athletic and he's tall and he's good looking and he's all the things. But she doesn't want him to step out on her. She wants him to stay with her. Why? Why would he? Because you're not sweet. You're not reserved. You're not conservative. You don't have the low body count. What value's in it for him? The answer is none. And will she adjust her sights to the guy that won't cheat on her and won't step out and won't leave her? No, of course not, because she can't.
It's really hard to find high quality men these days.
What does a high quality man look like to you?
A high quality man is someone who doesn't put their partying first, is really into their health, wellness, career, their overall happiness, well-traveled. That's a high quality man.
How much does a high quality man make in Miami?
$350K plus.
So $250K, kind of mid-tier.
Yeah, I would say so.
How much do you make annually?
$125.
Do you think that amount of money makes you a high quality woman, or does it play a factor at all?
Absolutely. I especially think in Miami, like not a lot of women work, so I think that makes me an extremely high quality woman.
Why do you think you're...
So she says a lot of women in Miami don't work. Why? Because more than likely, a lot of the men that are there in Miami make good money, and they go out and get women that are beautiful and, you know, arm candy and all the things. And so those women don't have to work. She makes 125. She wants him to bring home roughly 3 times her income, not 1.5. National, I think there was a poll that was done. Women want their men to bring home 50% more than they bring home. She wants 300% more. And when she talks about what's a high value man, she says someone that doesn't party, doesn't put partying first. He's like into his health and wellness, which means he's muscular and athletic and healthy, his career, and he's well-traveled. That's high quality. High travel, money, or well-traveled, money. Career, money. His health and wellness, his physical stand, and not partying. He won't meet another girl that looks better than me and leave me. And again, if you look, it's got the girl in the polka dot in here. What happens, and here's a girl in the polka dot and another woman. Now what happens in 20 years, or 15 years, because this gal said she's 29. What happens in 15 years after they've been out and about, and this is the same guy interviewing, what happens when they've been out and about and their high standards are never met, they just get slept with, the guy moves on, and then all of a sudden she's 45. The problem that they're running into is to say, I want a man that is high income and he's healthy and he goes to the gym and he's well-traveled and if he's progressive or he's conservative, either way, he has options. If he's a playboy, he's going to be out meeting all the other women. If he's conservative, I got news for you. If he's conservative, he can do better than you. As a matter of fact, you look at this gal, she's probably the one that's more conservative out of the two. But what he'll say is, do you have low body count? Or do you go out partying? Are you conservative? Oh, you make 125 grand a year? Are you going to want to, quit your job and be a stay-at-home mom? No? Then I don't have any use for you. I make more than enough money for both of us. So what happens after they dink around for 15 years?
What's your age, ladies?
We're both 45.
45.
Why do you think she's still single?
She's very picky.
What are some of her standards?
She wants someone to be very polished, I would say, put together. She needs them to have a plan.
Okay, polished and put together. Dress nice, very well manicured. And the dress nice means, hey, he's got to be wearing some Armani this and I don't know, all the designer stuff. He's not going to be out in a pair of jeans and sneakers. She wants him to, and that means professional. That means money, money, money.
Not only in their own life, but for her as well.
How much money does he need to make?
Good question.
No set amount of money.
So he could be making $45K as a manager at Moxie's?
No, don't be crazy.
Okay. No set amount of money. And he says, okay, so he could be a manager. And she says, don't be crazy. 50 grand a year. I don't know what the average income is per person now in the United States, but it's around 50 grand a year. Maybe it's 45, maybe it's 55. I haven't. And most household average incomes are around 75,000 a year. 45, don't be crazy. Not just, no, I want him to, no, you're crazy. You're a crazy person for even suggesting that.
Well, why does that make me crazy, though?
That's crazy talk. That's poverty here.
So what's your minimum in Miami?
I don't know. Gotta have a lot of savings, 401k, robust stuff. I don't know.
Does he need to match you or be higher?
Grossly exceed what I'm bringing.
Okay. So
That's not true. I have a lot of money.
Ballpark figure then, where would he need to be?
At least 150 in Miami.
Yeah, at least 150. I think we're of a certain age. It's not that hard to do that.
We're at a certain age where it's not that, and she's right. I mean, at 45, if she's dating 45 to 55, it's much easier to find a guy that makes 150 grand a year than it is for Miss Thing here at 29 to find somebody that makes $350,000 a year. But he has to have savings. He has to have a 401k. See, now her mind at 45 is, I'm tired of working. I don't want to work anymore. And I want to be with a guy that's my backup plan. And he still needs to make good money, but it's not about how much he makes now. It's about his savings. Because, see, I want to retire someday. I want us to both not work anymore and sail into the sunset so I have an easy life. Is that guy going to be progressive, or is he going to be more conservative? Probably more conservative. And she's still not going to want the guy that's average at best. He's got to have all the things. So even at 45 years old, and where did she get her money that she got? Then she's done, because she says he needs to vastly outmake what I make. But she says she's got money. Well, how does that happen? How is it that you're not, if he makes, okay, let me see if I can put this straight. He needs to make about 150 grand a year, but she also says he has to vastly outmake what I make. That means she's not making much money. But yet she says, I have savings, I'm doing well, like I'm okay. Where did that money come from if you aren't making that much money? At 45, probably an ex-husband. Probably an ex-husband that did well for himself, and she got the golden parachute on the way out. Lastly, I'll leave it at this. I have a couple more things I could talk about, but I'm going to leave it at this. You know, we've joked and talked about the only way to find somebody maybe that is more conservative value and that is not crazy and that is in all the feminist ways and going off the rails when it comes to like the progressive, you know, there's 73 genders or whatever, is guys are grabbing their passports and they're going overseas. And you're seeing these passport bros in Southeast Asia. They're going, South America is a very popular one. Well, people, especially down in these countries, realizing these guys are coming down as passport bros and to date, and they're getting entrapped by doing it, and they're getting themselves ended or in a lot of trouble. From the BBC. Now, before I read this, could it be possible that, hey, just hold on, man, hold on. Could it be possible that this is a story that's not true and they're trying to stop passport bros from going overseas? That is a possibility. But I don't think so. I think this is actually becoming a problem. This is from a couple days ago. Guys are getting completely ended or robbed. The city catching U.S. tourists in a dating trap. A series of mysterious endings involving American men in Colombia. It's been linked to dating apps. Relatives of those that were ended are now searching for answers, writes Austin Landis in Medellin. Tu Zhong loved coming back to Colombia. He talked about the high-spirited people just enjoying life. His brother told BBC News he even picked up Spanish. Never even crossed his mind that he would end up in a tragic incident this way. He basically was 2-week visit, or a few weeks into his 2-month visit in December, called his brother asking him for $2,000, but didn't say what it was for or if anything was wrong. His brother said he'd transfer the money. He never heard from his brother again. They found him in a remote wooded area of the city. He'd been kidnapped and held at weapon point for the $2,000 ransom. And then he was ended. The U.S. State Department said it was aware of a gang in the city that previously used dating apps to isolate guys before abducting and ending them, but it's unclear if a gang was behind the U.S. Endings. So they go on here and they talk about eight times this has happened. This is becoming a thing. And it's becoming so bad that now the U.S. Embassy in Colombia has put out a security alert, risks of using online dating applications. So they're taking it serious. That's why I don't believe this is just a web story to scare guys out of going overseas and dating and being passport bros. Because even the U.S. consulate's like, hey, or the U.S. Embassy. It's like, hey, this is a problem. You guys need to pay attention. So now passport bros have to be careful where they're going to. They can't. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when it's all about politics? It's all about money. It's all about looks. It's all about your athleticism. You know, the dating guys out there will say, well, just work out. Just get help, which I think is a good idea. No matter if you're single or not, you should be working out. You should be healthy. You should be exercising. Just work out, dude. Just pretend like you have money. You don't even have to have it. And you'll get laid. Okay. But what about all the STIs? What about the women that get angry at you for bouncing on them after a casual couple of hookups? What about the guys that are getting scammed? What about the guys that are accidentally, I don't know, getting a girl pregnant? What about all the problems that are out there? Just do this, just do that. Just go overseas. Just more and more of it starts breaking down to where men are starting to have to be so careful because of such a litigious society. It's such a woman supporting society. And even now when they say, I'm tapping out, I'm going overseas, I'm just going to find somebody there. Now you got to be careful because they know men are coming over and having fun with the ladies, and now they're scamming them and taking money from them. The whole thing gets really down to the point of, is it worth all the effort? Is it worth the effort of putting up with some pink-haired feminist just to try to get in her panties? Is it worth it trying to go through the landmine that is dating? Some guys still say yes. And for those guys, I say, go for it. As long as you understand the game and what you're getting into and what you've got to go through, I get it. I do. I was a young guy too, and I loved the ladies. I had many, many dalliances and many a great time. But things are getting harder and harder and harder. It used to be you could, I mean, I'm 5'6" on a good day. If I'm wearing my thick socks, I'm 5'6". At the time, I wasn't bald when I was in the military, and I was in really good shape. But even at 5'6", and being in good shape was enough that I got dates all the time. Some of them were casual hookups that I met when I was out at the bar. Sometimes they were a little bit longer relationships, but it happened a whole lot. And so as a younger guy, I could say, hey, I had that drive and I was able to fulfill most of it. And I really had good dating years. How many guys can do that today? How many guys that if I were 5'6", and which I still am, I mean, but now that I'm bald and I'm older, and if I were to return to the dating market, would I have a chance out there? I think I would, but it wouldn't be for the young gals having fun and just wanting to hook up and have all the good things out of a relationship. It'd be women wanting really the things that are most detrimental and risky to a guy in a relationship, which is she wants your money. She wants your house. She wants somebody to grow old with and have that 401k and be the bailout and be the provider while she's already given her best years to somebody else. And many could say, well, dude, you're 50. Like, I think that's a fair bargain. But look at what you're being offered. Look at the quality of women that are coming to you. Look at the divorce statistics. Look at all the things, cheating statistics. I mean, I wasn't going to get into this too far, but where's the news story? Right here. I'll leave it with this. I wasn't going to put this in the video, but now I'm on a tangent. This is relatively new, and this is from Fox News. Again, this stuff is going mainstream. I'll just play the audio clip here.
If you were in a relationship, should you really have a backup plan? There is new research that shows half of all women have a guy on the back burner just in case things go wrong in their current relationship.
If a woman's unhappy with her current relationship, half have a burner. Half have a guy in the wings saying, I find you desirable and I would take you away from your man. And that half, that 50% number, includes married women. It includes married women. And women here, the little pinup they have, research shows more than half of women have a backup ex-boyfriend or friend, 70% in 2024, up from the 50%. Because things are getting tough. And if things get tough, women don't want to go through a tough time because they're spoiled. And if things get too tough, whether financially or romantically, and they don't get all the things that they want, they're going to bounce. And they have a backup plan. They have a back burner. And the reason why I think the back burner is such a great explanation is because if you're cooking something on your main stove burner and you've got a 2 or 4 stove burner and you've got something in the back that's maybe on warm, maybe you don't want it to cook, you don't want it to become well done, but you got it back there just warming up. And when you get tired or you burn or you ruin or you just decide whatever you're cooking here you don't want, you just pick it up, upend it over the trash, dump it out, and then slide that warm right onto that front burner, and things are just a cooking. That's why back burner is such a great explanation. Well, women, they got their back burners lined up. Is that conservative? Is that working through the tough times? No, it's progressive. Men are disposable. But women don't want to be disposable because that's awful. Men are pigs when they do that. But when women do it, it's just called a backup plan.
Physician and national mindful living expert Dr. Romy Mushtaq is here to talk more about that. Dr. Romy, seriously?
Good morning, Tom. I know, and
Come on, this sounds positively guy.
Guy, doesn't it? And I have to.
This sounds positively guy. Gee, man hating much? This sounds like dudes that have backup women. Guys don't have backup women. Now, again, maybe the top percentages do. Guys don't have backup women. Guys don't have women on the wings, being their friends, pining for them, just hoping they become single. Some guys do. Not your average dude. But women, it's a lot easier to get a backup dude. A lot easier.
Sit here and defend all of us women, but this is the latest psychology research. I was just as shocked reading this data. More than half of women who are happily married women are doing this, have a backup plan. And what is a backup plan? It means you have someone on the back burner.
So a specific person they've identified.
And in most cases it was either an ex-boyfriend or an old friend who never made it to the dating category.
He's just a friend. Don't worry about him. He's just a friend. Yeah, I still talk to my ex a little bit, but it's because we're friends. Don't worry about him.
Get out of town.
Unfortunately, yes. And the problem is social media has just made it too easy to have such a type of behavior.
Right, so I know you're here to say, though,
yes,
watch out, because this is anything but good.
It is, I agree. You know, mindset matters in relationships.
That's where we are. And I will put this just as much on the men as the women. Well, I can't really, because if you have a female friend that you say, yeah, I'd sleep with her, I'd date her, and she's got a boyfriend, you're a problem. I mean that. You're a problem. You need to leave that woman alone. Now, if she turns around, goes out and gets another guy friend, then that's not on you. That's on her. But that new guy finds out, and he's kind of like, oh, man, I'd sleep with her. I'd date her if she didn't have a boyfriend. Let's just stop. There's so many things, though, that need to change to bring everything back into normalcy, and none of those things will change unless there's an absolute epic financial and social meltdown. But it'd have to be so big that we're probably back to, stones and sticks at this point. It's ugly market out there. No one agrees. Everybody's fighting. Everybody just figures out, well, it's easier to just sleep with somebody, and then I don't have to worry about being a backup plan or getting used for my resources, and everything is turned into the McDonald's of dating, which is just order it real quick, enjoy it. It's sick. It's poisoning. It makes you feel awful, makes you fat and unattractive and unhappy. And then when you're done with it, you're like, well, I feel like crap. Take a nap, wake up next day, and repeat it all over again. Instead of finding a nurturing, healthy, positive, good thing, because nothing ends good anymore. And I don't mean to be black pill. There's still good relationships. It still can happen. But the odds and the odds and the odds gets to the point where it's just like, no more. This doesn't work. Aaron Clary, who's kind of I guess you could say a friend of the show, an acquaintance of me. I wouldn't call us friends, but I'd like to meet the guy. He's the author and I joke around about this oftentimes. He's the author I wish I could be, because I can't write. I'm a monkey banging on a keyboard. But he wrote a book called Bachelor Pad Economics. And he breaks down here's the odds of meeting somebody that has the same standards as you do, that wouldn't divorce you, that doesn't have a back burner, that isn't crazy feminist, that doesn't believe this, and that isn't this, that won't do this, that isn't the... And by the time you break it down, it's like 0.82% of a chance of having a relationship where you meet somebody, fall in love, get married, happily ever after, till the day you die. It's like 0.82%. What's the point? What is the point? It's just easier to kind of be with somebody for a while it's good. Don't let yourself get taken out legislatively. Don't let yourself get taken out legally. Have your fun, move on. That's where we are. That's why we're not having kids. Well, couples aren't having kids. Single moms are. That's why couples aren't having kids. There's no family unit anymore. Everybody wants communism and socialism. That's why. I think it's because of engineering, because of social engineering. Well, can you blame them? Can you blame them when this is your choice? Can you blame them when men have to work 20 times harder for women that are 20 times less the quality that grandpa used to have? Can't really blame them. Guys, if you like my work, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. We've got a server where we all hang out. If you play games, you want to talk sports, you want to talk politics, we've got a gilded server. We can share memes. It's just live chat all day. You can jump in and jump out wherever you want. We've got the forums. I do live streams, 8 to 10 a month over there. We have a genuinely great time. You know, and the live streams are, I don't know, 200, 250 people on the live stream. So it's not a small show. It's a little smaller than I'd have on YouTube, but it's a great bunch of guys. We can share memes, free speech. You can talk about whatever you want. I'm the only moderator over there, and to date, I don't think I've ever removed a post or anything. I just if somebody says something horrendous, I let everybody else shame them into the dirt. I don't think you have to police speech and all that stuff. And so far, for the last couple of years, it's been doing great. So if you like this content, jump over there, check it out. I'll leave it there, and we will see you in the next one.